Headlines you can't get through your day without. On Power 1017.
All right, well, the World Health Organization reported Wednesday the COVID-19 deaths and cases, again, are on the rise globally, with deaths increasing by 3% last week for falling 9 straight weeks. Cases also rose last week up by 10%, which is the highest numbers in Brazil, India, Indonesia, and Britain. Driving the increases are low vaccination rates in many countries and relaxations of mask rules and other COVID precautions and the spread of the highly contagious Delta variant. However, deaths are around 7,900 daily, which is less than half of what they were at the height in January of 18,000 a day. After vaccinations have been, going for 7 months, cases are down by half since their peak, which was in late April. And they're saying it's all people who have not gotten the vaccination. 100% of people who have not gotten the vaccination in Maryland were the hospitalizations in Maryland this past month. So, and due to the lack of getting the vaccine. So, get out there and get that shot, guys. I'm just saying. The Justice Department's Inspector General said yesterday that the FBI had mishandled the investigation of sexual abuse allegations against former USA Gymnastics national team doctor Larry Nassar. This story was just
That's a shame.
Unbelievable, saying that it made fundamental errors and didn't treat the case with the, quote, utmost seriousness and urgency. The Watchdog's report highlights FBI missteps between when the allegations were first reported in 2015 and Nassar's arrest the following year. It took months before the FBI opened a formal investigation, and at least 40 girls and women alleged abuse by Nassar under the medical treatment over a 14-month period during the time. When the FBI did respond, the report found that it made, quote, numerous and fundamental errors. And when the Indianapolis field office's handling of the case came under investigation, they made it look like, they diligently pursued the case. The FBI acknowledged the conduct was, quote, inexcusable and a discredit to the law enforcement agency. Nassar, of course, now serving decades in prison.
Yeah, that's a shame.
The White House said Wednesday that the U.S. will start evacuating Afghan translators who worked for the U.S. military during the 20-year war in Afghanistan starting the last week of July. White House press secretary said people have already applied for special immigrant visas. They're going to be put on flights out of the country. Some 18,000 Afghans are eligible for special visas, and about half have started the process. The U.S. wants to evacuate them because many have been getting death threats from the Taliban, and the concern is that they could get hurt or be killed after U.S. forces leave. But we are getting that out of Afghanistan.
Yep.
So the number of confirmed victims in the collapse of the Tower South condominium in Surfside, Florida is now up to 97. 2 new victims identified yesterday. Miami-Dade mayor said 8 people remain potentially unaccounted for. Also yesterday, Miami-Dade Circuit Court judge approved the sale of the oceanfront property with proceeds intended to benefit the victims. He ordered the process to begin to sell the site, which could bring $100 million to $110 million.
Wow.
So what about all the other mental health things that are going on during the pandemic? From people having to stay inside.
Right.
What about the treatments that people need to get, but they can't because they can't go to the hospital or they can't leave their house or they can't do this and they can't do that? Well, the federal government put a report out yesterday. It showed 93,000 overdose deaths this past year because of the pandemic.
Jeez.
Now, there was 72,000 overdose deaths. This is just to put it into perspective. 72,000 in 2019. But this last year,
Jeez.
it was 93,000. So that's up 29%.
Yeah.
And according to the experts, lockdowns and other pandemic restrictions, made it harder to get treatment and really escalated drug addictions. So that's just, kind of put it into perspective a little bit. So crazy. I am going to get into Richard Sherman, but this is a shorter story real quick. The wife of Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, what's up? What happened?
Dwayne Haskins, of course, former Washington football team QB, now with the Steelers.
Yeah.
The wife of Dwayne Haskins faces domestic violence charges stemming from an alleged assault involving the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback that occurred in a Las Vegas hotel room earlier this month. She faces a felony charge of battery and domestic violence resulting in bodily harm stemming from an alleged altercation on July 3rd. According to the report, she's accused of punching Haskins in the mouth and other injuries that Haskins reportedly suffered were substantial in nature.
Goodness.
So that was a...
So she's been arrested.
yeah, she was arrested.
Goodness.
And let's get into this Richard Sherman situation. NFL free agent Richard Sherman, formerly star cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks and San Francisco 49ers, was arrested yesterday after he allegedly tried to break into his in-laws' house in Redmond, Washington earlier in the morning. He also crashed his SUV in a construction zone and then fought with police officers as they tried to take him into custody. The 33-year-old was arrested on suspicion of resisting arrest, malicious mischief, and residential burglary with a domestic violence component because it was a relative's home. Okay, so because he was breaking in, quote unquote, breaking in to his in-laws, that's why you kept hearing about the domestic. He didn't like get in an altercation with his girl or whatever,
Right.
punch her or hit her, none of that kind of stuff. Okay, it was because he was trying to break into his in-laws' house. However, officials say he did not actually enter the home or try to hit any of the family members at all. Sherman's wife, Ashley Moss, told the Seattle Times at this time, "We're going to make no statements except he didn't harm anyone. My kids are not harmed in the incident. He's a good person, and this is not his character. Results of a blood test are pending, but the state patrol was recommending driving under the influence and hit and run charges. Sherman is jailed until the initial court hearing expected for today."
I know.
But my question, he was denied bail yesterday. So he spent the night in jail.
Oh, yeah. The statement that I'm reading here, she says, I just want everybody to know that he did not harm anybody. My kids were not harmed in this incident. He's a good person. This is not his character.
Yeah, but
He's doing all right. We are doing okay. We're trying to get him out. I just want people to know that no one was injured. So, yeah, he did. He spent the night in jail.
yeah, that's something.
Yep.
But why? Why would he spend the night in jail? I think that's like something. I've seen other people get out on less.
Let me see here. If
I
it
mean,
says
that's a
anything
little,
else.
to me, that's a little sus. Him having to spend the night and were denied bail.
Police officers.
If no one
trying to
was
calm
injured,
the
he really didn't enter the
situation.
home. Why does he have to stay in jail? I don't like that.
Sherman fought back once the officers told him that he was going to be placed under arrest. They had to summon the canine to take him down. According to officers, Sherman was taken to the hospital to be examined for his injuries, and then he was booked just after 6 a.m. He was denied bail, but a spokesperson with the Redmond Police Department told ESPN that that is standard procedure until suspects of domestic violence can appear before a judge. So I guess because
But
that
he didn't hurt
charge is
it.
on there, but the charge is there, so until suspects of domestic violence can appear before a judge. And he can't appear before a judge until this morning. But his wife does say that they're not
So
going
if
to make
it
any
was-
more statements at this time, but he did not harm anyone.
But the only reason why it's a domestic violence is because it was his in-laws' house.
Mm-hmm.
So someone else, if it was like a neighbor's house, he would have been out. That's the jacked up part.
Just says standard procedure.
I don't know. I don't
I mean,
like that.
I think he's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Okay.
He didn't hurt anyone. No one was injured. No one was harmed. You know, it's just one of those situations.
Jess, you got
Intoxicated.
a couple quick local stories.
Yep. As the summer moves along and the temperatures are rising, beach patrol officials are asking people to please remember to stay safe on the beach when it comes to the heat. A lot of heat-related illnesses are not uncommon, and we have a lot of days here with the heat being very high and they want everyone to know that it's very important to stay hydrated throughout the day before you hit the beach. Make sure that you are eating enough so you can help prevent any heat-related illnesses. Also, you need to plan ahead, and even the night before, you need to start hydrating leading up to your beach day. If you're not hydrated and properly nutrition, it's going to create a problem in the heat. So they want everybody to come on out and have fun, but stay safe in the heat. Also, Dover City officials are tackling some health concerns in their community, and they say that some residents are struggling to get health care right now. So the city is going to bring in the U.S. military. Healthcare providers are all going to work together to fix this. And during the first week of August, residents can get medical care, vision, and dental care all at no cost. Also, $309 million is going to be given to licensed child care providers in Maryland. The Maryland State Department of Education is giving licensed child care centers and family child care providers a chance to get more funding. They made this announcement. It's going to be the first round of the Child Care Stabilization Grant. It's now available, and it's going to total about $309 million. As we emerge from this pandemic, we recognize this critical role that child care providers have played in the state's overall recovery efforts with the nurturing, the caring, and the educating of the youngest children and helping out our state's economy. That was a statement from Governor Larry Hogan in this release, but that's some great news. $309 million in grants are going to be available for licensed child care providers.
Okay.
Big deal.
We got sports up next. NBA Finals. We'll talk about it.
I know.
Throwback Thursday. Good morning.